For more on China's growing tech market, I'm joined now by Patrick Perkins. He's a professor in the School of Law at The Ohio State University. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we know that the world has seen the explosion of Chinese tech. One of the best examples, perhaps, is TikTok, but it's become a political issue in the West recently with restrictions. But what kind of fallout could come if the U.S. decides to ban TikTok completely?
So first off, I don't believe that the U.S. will ban TikTok completely, but it's a very interesting question. What would happen if it did? And there would really be two major areas where you could see fallout. And the first off, and the reason why I don't think it'll be banned, is there will be unhappiness at home in the United States. TikTok is extremely popular among younger generations, and that's a demographic that the Democrats especially are really trying to court with a really consequential 2024 election coming up right around the corner. If they are just overnight forced essentially off of one of their favorite social media platforms, will they survive? Yes, but they won't be too happy about it. More consequence, though, is the impact it can have on the China-U.S. relationship, already frayed over the last few years for many reasons. TikTok itself is more of a flashpoint than it is really an important factor by and large. It's very visual, it's easy to relate to, and so it's really become a kind of a battleground as far as it goes with these relations and the tech sector. If they were to flat out ban TikTok in the United States, it would just continue to cool the relationship between both of the countries, which is likely not what either party wants at this point in time.
Yeah, and there's an economic impact too, as a lot of people do monetize their content. What about the impact that U.S. trade restrictions and tariffs, what have they had on the Chinese tech market, especially when it comes to parts and chips?
Yeah, and so the parts and chips is exactly where the impact has been felt. And in the previous segment, it talked about the computers and the cell phones and even the car manufacturers. There are chips in all of those with China manufacturers, and does a great end of those. But those are considered more low-end chips. The real area where China's being hit hard by these restrictions from the U.S. is on the high-end chips. And these are the ones that would potentially go into AI programming, into supercomputers, into military weapons, into all of the more high-end technology, which is where the cutting edge of innovation is happening at the moment, which will really shape the geopolitical map moving forward. So by the United States kind of really choking this off from China, it really does have the potential to put China back 10, 20 years behind the United States in this area, which is really the goal there. Now, for China's credit, it's done a good job of innovating despite these restrictions, but there's no doubt that these restrictions are playing impact on the Chinese market. And to be fair, it's not just the United States that's doing this. They're doing it in conjunction with allies such as the Netherlands and Japan as well. So if China wants to really keep competitive at this high-end chip level, they're really going to have to dig deep and do some real innovating that they've been doing a good job of to this point, but it needs to get even better.
Right. They've been focusing their efforts at home, trying to innovate and keep everything inside. What's happening in terms of talent? You know, we've had the pandemic, we've had friendly relations under different administrations. That has all kind of turned around in recent years. And it seems like we saw more combined cooperation, research across borders, exchange students. Where does that stand right now? And does China have the tech talent it needs to reach its goals?
In a word, no. They're getting better, they're innovating, and as you said, it's that cross-border work, that cross-border collaboration, professors across the board, of academics, of researchers, that really leads to the growth of the innovation industry in the United States, in China, and everywhere. But the fact of the matter is China does not have the same technological talent at the top end as other countries such as the United States at the moment. And in fact, the United States has the top-end universities producing the top-end talent. China has very good universities at the very top of the end. But when you look across the board, they just can't really compete with the top-end talent that the United States is producing. again, it's increasing, and to China's credit, they are putting their focus and attention on improving in this area, and they understand that they lag behind in this area to the United States. But I was actually talking to a scientist friend who's Chinese yesterday, and he's a professor here in the United States, and what he said to me is he received his PhD at one of the top universities in China. He said that China's still a good 20 years behind the United States as far as the technological talent goes.
All right, Professor Patrick Perkins, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us from Columbus, Ohio.
Thank you.